Hot Mike here. Dude, if my name was Mike, that would be so awesome. But my name's not Mike. Hot Kyle here. Just kidding. Hot Mike, green light, means we're rolling and we're on. And I think these things were like $12 on Amazon. A buddy of mine had some newer, nicer, fancier ones. I think those were like $50 ones. And I'm like, oh, I bet those are a million times better. But sorry, dude, I don't really want to spend $50 on a silly little drive to school. You know what I mean? We could make do, and that's what we're doing. Happy stinking Tuesday. It's all foggy out here, and if you don't know what living in a place where it gets foggy is, it is actually a ton of fun. Oh, there's Auntie Erica. Hey. Um, Anyway, super foggy. When it gets cold, ground gets colder. And when the air hits the ground. Anyway, not trying to get all scientific on you, but every time it gets foggy like this, I always have to check our little alert line for school, being like, is school delayed a couple hours? Because growing up, we had fog delays all the stinking time, and you got to sleep in an extra couple hours. We haven't had a whole ton of fog, but I see the fog creeping back, and I'm like, we've got lots of rain, so there's lots of cold water on the ground, and when that air gets around the cold water, it creates this awesome little fog. But it's kind of like you're driving in a cloud, or flying in a cloud, but it's not crazy right now. Sometimes it's crazy, but it's not crazy right now. But we're at day 2 of getting things back and rolling. And must say I'm impressed with how well kids showed up after having 9 days off. We played the little game of how was your Thanksgiving break? How late did you stay up? All that good stuff. And heard some crazy answers. 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., slept all day. So some of them were running on fumes. And been there, done that, but your best self does not live off of fumes. You know what I mean? Anyway, we're getting the ball going again. We got 3 weeks, but my weeks are pretty stacked with like things to do outside of the classroom. So it'll be for me. I'm like, sure, we have 3 weeks, but I'm like, it'll be a pretty solid, chill 3 weeks, which is always a fun thing to not be overwhelmed with it all. Yeah, anyway, fun stuff. I'm out here driving through a field, and the fields are where most of the fog comes from. And there's a stoplight up here, but I can't even see. Oh, it's yellow. Can't even see what the stop sign is. Normally you can see it from way back there and either time it to where you're going fast or slow and all that good stuff. And speaking of stoplights, go lights, slow down lights, traffic lights, I'm reading a book called Green Lights from Mr. Matthew McConaughey. And I think I've always been impressed with that guy as far as the roles he's been in. Dude's a stud. But again, you dude's a stud in the movies. You're like, who is this guy? But then my favorite little podcaster, Chris Williamson, had him on his show a couple different times. And I'm like, wow, Mr. Matthew McConaughey is a deep individual, a very well-spoken individual, an individual that has had a whole lot of life experiences that have helped him be the person he is today. And anyway, then another buddy of mine was reading a book called Green Lights, and I'm like, sweet, that looks like a cool book. Turns out, written by Matthew McConaughey. 15, $20, you got to buy it, you know? And if you think about how long it takes to write a book, one of my friends, Jason, just wrote a book. Months and months and months, and edits and edits and edits and rewrites and all this stuff. The fact that I could pay $20 and read all of this stuff, and again, we're talking hours of enjoyment, and it is one of the cheapest little hobbies. So if there's a book out there that I'm like, I want to get it, even if I'm broke, I'm still like, dude, I'm going to buy that because there's a wealth of information in there. And this book is called Green Lights. I am driving through a green light right now. I was just stopped at a red light back there. And Matthew McConaughey called it Green Lights because when you're driving somewhere and you hit all the green lights, it's like the luck is going your way and you're just jamming, you're not being stopped up. And green lights are fun. Green lights are great. Green lights are enjoyable, and they just keep your momentum going. And in life, a lot of people have called that dude lucky or whatever, and he's like, no, I've just had a whole lot of green lights in my life. And he kind of talks about his way of living that, he feels like kind of makes more green lights happen than not. Anyway, I'm only like 50 or 60 pages into that book. And what I will say, though, is, and I think he probably talks about this, is that green lights are great. Green lights in life are awesome. The promotion you get, the car that you end up buying, the good deal you find, the whatever. Those, like, I met somebody, those like green lights that kind of open up things. But Matthew McConaughey's life has not been a bunch of green lights. There was a year of his life that he spent in Australia, and the first like 7 or 8 months was with the weirdest family ever. And he was like trapped in Australia. He had to be there for a year on this exchange program. And I'm like, reading about this was like wild to me. And anyway, he says, and I agree, that green lights are fantastic. We all want green lights. But the learning doesn't come from the green lights. The learning comes from the red lights. The stopped times in your life where you are stuck somewhere and you have to figure out a way to get yourself out of there. And I'll circle back to red lights, but I went through a yellow light this morning. I'm on my way to drop the kids off at Graham's. And depending on when you hit a yellow light, you have a choice to make. I could either slow down if there's not enough time, or, hey, I'm good to go. I don't want to say speed up, but I'm just going to speed through this light, kind of like I did. And I don't know about you. I've been through lots of green lights, actual green lights in my life. They feel good, but when you get a yellow light and you are like, dude, I can make it, and you make it through at the last second, there is this enjoyment of like, dude, I just barely snuck by. That felt great. And it's kind of like the idea of procrastination. You can procrastinate in life, and what feels better? When you turn in the assignment 1 minute before it's due and you're like, oh yes, I submitted it 11:59, it was due at midnight. That feels pretty darn good. If you just submit it a day before, you're like, yeah, it turned in. But yeah, when you hit those red light or the yellow lights, there's some like dude, I just did it. I did it by the skin of my teeth. You know, where I'm like, I don't know, there is enjoyment in that. I don't know if that's good, but in my life, I've been at red lights, and maybe I didn't know I was at a red light at the time, or maybe I did. And I think Matthew agrees. Don't call him Matt. I guess his mom lost it on a teacher that called him Matt or something like that. Anyway, uh, that the learning happens at the red lights. When your life is a bunch of green lights, you are just cruising. You're not stopping to think about you. You're not, digging inside to figure out what's going on. You're not trying to change much. You are just cruise controlling, like I'm doing right now, through life. And that is a fantastic place to be. Are you just going to be cruising through life forever? No, there's going to be that light eventually that stops you. And I think what you do with the red lights in your life is really stinking important. And you high school kids might feel like high school is a big red light in your life. You're like, dude, I was meant for greatness. I need to get out and about. Bakersfield's not for me. I'm hitting the big city, whatever the heck it is. But you could be at a red light right now where you're like, I know I am bound for something better than this, but I'm stuck here in Bakersfield. Stuck at school for however much longer. But that's really where I think learning can happen. And I say can happen because it's not always does happen. Some people, I think, live at a stoplight for the rest of their life, and they just accept the red light and don't try to better it. They don't try to learn from it. They don't try to grow from it. They don't try to improve upon it. And that's fine. I'm not going to judge them. But is that what I want for you, for me, for us? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want better than that, And so anyway, what are you supposed to learn at red lights? Oh man, good luck. Sit with yourself for an hour and in silence, all alone, and just spend time with yourself and ask yourself what the heck you got going on and why the heck you're doing the things you're doing, and who the heck you are and who you want to be and how far that distance is apart, and what's a little thing you could do to bridge that gap between who you are today and who you want to be in the future, And then, yeah, grow from it. Do something. I think learning requires doing. Growing requires doing. There's something that actively has to happen. And don't be afraid to do it. Never too late to start. And yeah, good times ahead. Okay, rolling up to school. Miss you already. Oh, sorry guys. And looks like they're doing some construction over here. Nice. Always expanding, man. That is a beautiful stinking thing. Hey, whatever light you're sitting at or driving through or speeding up for, or slowing down to enjoy being at, learn something, grow from it, make it a positive thing. So, anywho, love you guys. Peace.